I sense suffering here, Spirit. Do you need help?
Dead.
The land has begun to heal. Is this your doing? You carry the same energy that flows through these groups.
What's going on, everyone? The Great Talon here, and today we're going to talk about Kena Bridge of Spirits on the PlayStation 5. So yeah, I just finished this game, hot off the heels of it. So what is Kena Bridge of Spirits? Is it any good? We're going to get into that in a minute, but first and foremost, just want to thank everybody for stopping by. If you liked the video, don't forget to like and subscribe. So let's just dive right in. So Kena Bridge of Spirits is a very spiritual-like game, diving into the connections between human and nature, and boasts a story about a girl named Kena, or Kina. Can't really pronounce the name. I think it's Kina. Some people say Kina in the game. Some people say Kena. There is voice acting in the game. The voice acting is pretty well done. We'll get to that in a second. So it's about a girl named Kina, or Kena, rather, however you want to pronounce it. She is a little spirit guide tasked with restoring balance to the land while using these little adorable like creatures called rot. They're like these little adorable like, they look like they could be like merchandise, like fucking sold to you with like Disney could sell it to you. Like the little tiny, little cute little black. I don't know why they're called rot. They're too cute to be called rot, but they're called rot. And they are actually help Kina purify the land of corruption to supply the land with the lush and vibrant colors. And speaking to that point, the graphics are pretty damn gorgeous with character models. They feel as though, as like I said earlier, like you're watching a Pixar movie, and play out in like cutscenes, like you're watching and playing a live action adventure Pixar movie. It's like, it's pretty good. Although I did notice a few frame drops here and there at certain times when traversing the landscape, and whenever I use this one ability, there's an ability that you can use to it's like turning the rot creatures you get into a like water flowing like creature, and as the water flows between these rot, I noticed a lot of frame drops. I mean, it's not game breaking, but it is noticeable, so I did want to mention that. The music is very orchestrated, pretty reminiscent at that of other spiritual games like Ori and the Blind Forest, Ori and the Will of the Wisps. The concept of the game resembles the other indie game that released a few months back called The Gunk on Xbox Series X on Game Pass. The only difference is this is a much, much better game and more concise game than The Gunk, because The Gunk was kind of bland. This is more like, there's a balance. If The Gunk was just, you're always on the defensive, you're just kind of, you're just like clearing like corruption. You're not really attacking. You're solving puzzles, whatever. But it just felt bland platform, bland everything. This was more like more action oriented. Lot of vibrant colors, a lot of different abilities and upgrades you can get in here, which we'll get into in a minute. But I just thought it was a better game than The Gunk, which is actually what is a comparable game to this. With that being said, though, you can actually get, like I said, you can go on the offensive, like you cannot do in that game, The Gunk. You can go on the offensive here with you get a cool spirit staff that doubles as a bow and triples as a spirit bomb. So it's pretty cool. You unlock ability, you could turn it into a bow and arrow. I could shoot spirit arrows, and then you unlock another upgrade later on in the game that allows you to unlock a bomb ability that resembles like Zelda bombs. So it's pretty awesome. Gameplay can feel a bit like Horizon Zero Dawn at times, where it's like you get a staff, you can beat the shit out of things with staff, you can block, you can jump, you can dive, you can dip, you can dodge, you can defend. Other than that, it has also mixed with a little bit of Zelda-like exploration and having to use, like I said, the bombs, the arrows to solve puzzles, riddles in the environment. They're not like, they're not head scratchers riddles, but they are like, you got to engage your brain a little bit. And you kind of have to, use your abilities and your rot to solve these little mild, light puzzles to progress to the next area. And the rot that you get, it feels a little bit like Pikmin, like the Nintendo game Pikmin, where you have these little minions and they do your bidding for you. They move objects, they unlock doors, they can even fuck up enemies. I mean, you can't do that with Pikmin, but you can do it here. You can have them summon and have them swarm enemies, the way you distract them or do a little bit of damage to them and whatnot. And speaking of the enemies, the combat, like I said, it feels fluent for the most parts of time, allowing you to mix together and chain together light and heavy attacks together, while you have your defensive light shields to deflect, block, and even parry at times. Late in the game, you get a dash ability, so you can dash through enemies and doorways and whatnot, spirit doors. The enemies in the game are like these corrupted, they're pretty much a consensus of corrupted woodland-like creatures that range from corrupted tree, bark-like creatures to like little like insectoids or like bird flying things and whatnot. But a lot of their attack patterns, especially in the bosses, are reminiscent to Dark Souls for whatever reason. They feel like they're very telegraphed. The boss meters are very Dark Souls like. And again, we'll get to that in a minute in regards to difficulty. But you can, speaking of the upgrades, like I mentioned before, you can upgrade your abilities and gain new moves, like such as like a heavy attack, a jumping attack, and so on and so forth. And you can also unlock ammo increases for your bow. You can get more shots done with your arrow before it has to reset. You can unlock a second bomb slot as well. And you can also ramp up your shield bar, which actually allows you to absorb more attacks and take on more damage, which I thought was pretty cool. And if you're wondering if this is an open world game or not, it is, but it isn't. It's more so open world in a sense of like the latest Tomb Raider trilogy or the newest God of War, where it's basically like you're in an open area, but it's controlled, meaning you have to unlock or progress enough in the story or unlock key items to progress in different extensions of the main hub area of the world. So, and even when you unlock the next area, it's controlled to an extent. You can go to certain places, other places you can't. The platforming is very limited. And we're going to get to the platforming in a bit because I did have a lot of some issues with the platforming. But don't get me wrong, I do enjoy open world games, but I enjoy games like this more so than truly open world games at times, since open world games can kind of feel overwhelming at times depending on the type of game it is and the type of game you're playing. Looping back to the boss fights are pretty frequent and pretty cool and well done too. Like I said before, the bosses feel like Dark Souls enemies because they have the big ass health bar. They're like David and Goliath like bosses. They can range from up close and personal bosses like the David and Goliath bosses to like really fast like ninja like bosses to like ranged bosses where they're up in the sky and you got to shoot them down with arrows and whatnot. Now getting to my complaints and my gripes with the game, my complaints being as though the game has, besides the minor frame drops, mainly my grief lies in the difficulty spikes. So if you're playing this game on story mode, which is easy, the game is too easy. It's a cakewalk. You can beat it with your eyes closed, blindfolded. If you heighten it to like spirit mode, which is normal difficulty, the game becomes hard mode. I don't know why it does. It just does. When you're fighting normal enemies, it's like, even when you're fighting normal enemies, it's very, very fucking hard. They're very aggressive and they can kill you. Like even in normal fights, like with the jobber enemies, you're dying. And I'm like, oh my God, am I playing on hard? So they didn't find the happy medium between story mode and normal mode. I would have liked them to have a happy medium in between the two, because I found myself having to constantly swap between easy and normal throughout the entirety of the game, and it got a little bit off-putting. I felt like it was very unnecessary to have to do that. Also, my other major gripe is with the platforming. The platforming could have used with some tweaking too. Numerous times I felt that I should have made and landed jumps onto other platforms when I knew I should have, but I just fell to my death. And luckily the checkpoints are very close together, so I didn't get too aggravated. But having the inability to pull yourself up on any platform other than with a platform that has like handholds, like you can see like on the white surfaces, they're called handholds, is very like disappointing and very disorientating. Getting back to the game now. Collectibles, in regards to collectibles, you can collect things from like cosmetic items such as hats for your little rock creatures. I think that's pretty adorable. You can also unlock more abilities and meditation spots. Find more rot in the environment. The more rot you get, the more it unlocks new ability tiers, as well as I mentioned before, meditation spots that increase your HP. So overall though, Kenna is a solid action adventure game that'll run you about 13 hours or so if you take your time with it. If you're honestly like, I want to say if you're rushing through this, you could probably get through it within under 10 hours, but I was taking my time. I found myself clocking in a little over 13 hours. So it's a pretty decent game. I'm surprised that this is considered an indie game. The quality of the game, besides my gripes, is very gorgeous. It looks, graphically speaking, it's way too pretty to be an indie game. I honestly thought that Sony PlayStation Studios published this, but I was wrong. It actually is an independent game by Ember Labs, and they did a pretty good job with this. I'm not sure if it's going to be a timed exclusive on PlayStation 5 or what. If not, I think, be on the look for. I'm sure it'll be on PC at some point, maybe even Xbox. Who knows? Nothing is sacred in this day and age unless you're, unless you're publishing the game by the big three themselves. So, anyway, with that being said, at a score, Kena Bridge of Spirits on a scale of 1 to 10, I'm going to give it a 7.5 out of 10. I think it's a solid game, just shy of greatness. If there's ever a sequel to this game, I really hope that they tweak what I mentioned to make it a better and more robust experience. Yeah, that's my review of Kena Bridge of Spirits. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I will catch everybody next time. Thanks as always for stopping by.